Hello everyone, what's up? It's me again. So, a couple people have requested a video like this where I basically talk about, atlas trees and what atlas tree stuff is good for SSF. So, I'm going to say right off the bat that whatever atlas tree that you decide to build should be tailored to whatever build you're league starting and whatever content that you want to farm. I don't really think there's like a best tree. So like I don't know if I want to like be like, yo guys, this is the tree that you guys must follow because it's optimal. I don't think there is even such an optimal, tree. You really just take whatever you want that's like good for your farming and your progression and the builds that you're gonna play. So that being said, I do want to share with you guys 4 atlas trees that I've built. And the reason that I have 4 is I have, 3 trees for the 3 different atlas trees that you get. And then I have another tree, which is like your day 1 tree that I'm going to build on day 1. And that is this tree right here. And I'm basically going to talk about like, my plans for league start, what build I'm going to start with, and then like, what builds I may play later on, and then why I built the atlas trees in this way and how they help me progress the builds that I'm going to play. So yeah, that's going to be what this video is all about. It's going to be all about what atlas tree stuff can you take to progress, certain builds, basically. So that being said, let's just get started. So as you guys know, I am going to be league starting my Lightning Strike Gladiator build. This is going to be the build that I will be playing on league start. And I have a couple of videos on this already if you want to check this build out. But yeah, the long story short is this is a pretty generic build. In order to progress this build, you just need very generic things. The generic things being like Essence, Expedition, Harvest, and Betrayal. Just those generic things. The only thing that you need that's very specific for this build, well, there's 2 things that you need later on. The first one is that the endgame tree, like the Giga endgame tree, will ideally have a lethal pride and also a dual wielding cluster jewel, dual wielding large cluster jewel, and also 2 critical strike chance medium cluster jewels. So because my build has that, I need to build at least 1 atlas tree, which is going to farm Legion, and then 1 which is going to farm Delirium. So just keep that in mind, and I'm gonna like show those trees later in this video. So yeah, that's the build that I'm gonna be like starting. And then my plan is to play Archmage Ice Nova as a second character. This is a build that I played last league. If you want to learn more about this build, there's like a lot of videos on YouTube. I also have like a 1-hour video of me talking about my SSF Ice Nova Archmage Hierophant character from 3.24 last league. So, there's a lot of good info in there that you can check out. This build was really, really insane last league, and it's even more insane this league. And I also made some quick changes, which I'll just talk about quickly. The first is that Hierophant is stronger than ever because this league endurance charges now also give you elemental damage reduction. So this build should have been nerfed because it's too OP, but now it's even more OP because you gained 16% elemental damage reduction for free via 4 minimum endurance charges. So that's like the only thing that's different in this build. The other thing that I'm going to do differently this league is that last league I ended up with a setup where I anointed Inveterate and then I used Magebane and this evasion wheel to cap suppression. But it turned out that I believe that this is kind of inefficient, and the only change that I'm making to this build this league is that I'm going to not do that, and instead I'm just going to go for the instinct wheel and then take lucky suppression. This is something that someone recommended that I did in one of the comments on my Archmage video. But the main idea is that when your HP pool is like 16k between mana, life, and ES, and Mind Over Matter, and Corrupted Soul, when your HP pool is 16k, I feel that having 90% Lucky Suppress is basically the same thing as 100% True Suppress, especially so in softcore. And it turned out that, using Kitava's Thirst, which I believe is mandatory for the build, I ended up just using it everywhere. It just increases your quality of life and damage uptime so much. I ended up using this instead of an evasion helmet, but then that caused me to not only lose an evasion roll on the helmet, but also it prevented me from using this evasion mastery, which gives you suppress if all your armor has evasion. So long story short, Kitava's Thirst good, but if you use this, it's hard to get suppress. But fortunately, you can just take Lucky Suppress, and with 90 Lucky Suppress and a big HP pool, I think it's good enough. And also doing this allows you to save a large amount of skill points, which means that you can take small mana nodes a lot earlier on in leveling. As you can see here, I'm level 95, and I've taken all these small mana nodes here. So that's really good. And then also, freeing up Inveterate on the anointment means that you can take Mind Drinker as your anointment, which increases your quality of life and mapping, and also gives you more damage via 20% maximum mana. So that's the only change that I made in this build. I'll put the POB of this in the description of the video in case you want to check this out as well. But yeah, just bear in mind that this is going to be the second build that I reroll probably. After that, I have no idea what I'm going to play next. Probably just whatever interesting shit happens with maybe some new implicits or whatever new shit is going on next league. But do note that this build also needs a Legion Jewel, Glorious Vanity specifically. So yeah. So basically, because I have two builds that need Legion Jewels, I need to build like one Atlas tree to farm Legion, which is going to be this one here, which I'll go into in a bit later. Okay, so now that you guys know that I'm going to be doing Lightning Strike Glad into Archmage Ice Nova, now we can go into like the actual trees and like why I'm building it this particular way. So this is going to be my league start tree right here. This is going to be very similar to what I've done in the past. I don't know if it maybe even identical, but yeah, the basic idea, okay, so I actually prepared some paint for y'all. So this is the same tree, but copied and pasted into paint. And I'm gonna like draw my progression or like what I think I'm gonna do. So first, I'm basically gonna go for all the betrayal nodes, and then I'll go for Kirak, and then Expedition, basically, and then Exarch Altars. So it's gonna be something like this. You start off in white maps, and then you immediately go over here, get this betrayal thing, then you go over here, you get this more betrayal thing, and then you go over here and you get this betrayal thing. And when you have this, you have 100% chance to have June in your maps. So every map will have like June in it, and then that will help you get a lot of good unveils early on, which can not only give you like a really good item just right away, but it also just like helps out your progression, allows you to craft stuff like reduced effective chill and shock, which is just always going to be helpful. Percent life, percent mana on your body armor, stuff like that. So I'm going to go for June first. And then after June, after you take this amount of skill points, you're probably like breaking into yellows. And then I would say maybe you go Kirak after that. And then also map sustain. I guess you would take this one first. And then you go Kirak and then get all this map sustain stuff. And then, yeah. And the reason that I think it's good to go for map sustain after betrayal is that, like, you can't really brick white maps, right? Like, I have never heard of anyone get stuck in white maps. Like, you can always, like, buy white maps. You can always find white maps and axe if you really need to. So I feel like rushing map sustain early on is maybe unnecessary. But, like, getting betrayal early on helps you a lot with XP. And you can also get some good items as well. So I think the optimal timing for getting, map sustain and Kirak stuff is like around yellow maps, because are you really going to run out of white maps, So that's the idea why I take maps after betrayal. Maybe it's different if you're like speedrunning, I don't know, but I think this is like something that makes sense for like general gear progression. And then after map sustain stuff, I'm going to go for Expedition. And, Expedition has always been really good, just excellent for getting currency via Tujin, gear via Rog, and, just logbooks can also drop you good stuff. So around the time like you finish taking all this betrayal and map and Kirac stuff, you're probably going to be in like late yellows or maybe early reds. And then that's the perfect time to take expedition. So I'll like take expedition like this, get the logbook node, get all this stuff. If the build is powerful, you can also take the Oppenheimer node, but early on I like to not take the Oppenheimer node just to make it a bit easier for my starter to handle. So that's why I path this way. And then you can also take this small node up here to get 100% expedition chance in your maps. And then when you're in red maps, farming expedition is like pretty good. So you have this. And then after this, you have two options. Like, well, I mean, if you're in early reds, you're probably going to want to take this node first, this syndicate thing, which will give you 10 intelligence every time you complete a map. So, or 10 mastermind intelligence. So that helps you like progress safe houses, get more loot, get more XP. And then when you're in like tier 14, 15, 16 maps, that's when you would want to take like Searing Exarch Altars. So I do recommend portaling over here and then getting this. And I guess this depends on what build you're playing. Like my build, Lightning Strike, really wants Searing Exarch Embers. Like if I get Searing Exarch Embers, I can get additional strike on my gloves and other stuff that is, you know, pretty reasonable for the build. Action speed on your boots, for instance. So I'm definitely going to prioritize Searing Exarch. Also, I do believe that Searing Exarch in general is better than Eater early on. You tend to get more just random bubblegum currency with Exarch first, like Chaos Orbs and stuff. So I do like to go for Exarch first, like this. And that's basically like my league start tree, how I would like path through it. So yeah, just to draw it again in case you may have missed it. Oh shit, where'd it go? Okay, it's gonna be something like this, that, this and that, and then this, and then that, like this, and then this, and there, and then maybe you do this, and then maybe you do this, and then that, this, that, and then this, and that. So something like this is what I would do, and yeah, you can like, you know, pick and choose what aspects of this maybe you want to use as well if you want to. And that's basically my league start tree. And the main idea of this is to like not only get stuff that progresses you at league start, but also like put your tree in a position where you can respec to this. And this is like my quote unquote like ideal vanilla tree for SSF. This is going to be very similar to the trees that I've, you know, made videos about in the past. The main idea is betrayal, expedition, harvest, endgame map drops, and Searing Exarch Altars and essence. I believe that all these do help you out a lot. And yeah, as you can see, it's pretty similar to my league start tree. It just has a couple more things on it. And yeah, there's not much to say here. It's just all this stuff I believe is really helpful for progressing in SSF. You know, essences are good. They help you, you know, craft gear. Maybe it's even mandatory in SSF. Although I do want to note that I'm intentionally not taking 2 essence wheels. I'm intentionally not taking Crystal Resonance and Crystal Lattice. It's just that these nodes take a long time, like a lot of travel nodes to get to, and they're also kind of rippy. Like, Crystal Resonance is especially questionable because, like, when you put essences on the map boss, they become really powerful, and that is, like, usually difficult for a league starter to handle. So, like, unless your build is, like, totally crushing it, and you can, like, definitely handle all map bosses with essences, like, at league start, maybe I would, like, save this for later. And then same concept with Crystal Lattice down here. First of all, it's far away. Second of all, you know, any monster that has 3 additional essences is going to be a lot harder to kill. And, you know, I would like to not die on my starter if possible. So, yeah, I'm intentionally not taking these. I guess if you wanted to farm essences later and your build got to a point where it was good enough, then you could take these if you wanted to, but they would still just be kind of far away. So, I don't know. And then, yeah, what else is there on this tree that's different from the other one? I guess harvest. Harvest is something that I usually like to take last just because early harvest just doesn't give you very much life force. So usually I'll take harvest as like the actual last thing, like later than everything else on a tree like this. And I just like have harvest as like, yeah. And I just have this here. It's just good to build up life force. You never know like what you're gonna want to craft or just like swap res. And although the primary use of harvest I think is to craft amethyst rings. That's just always good in SSF. Just reforge chaos on an amethyst base and you can get any build to have a lot of chaos resistance. So yeah, I definitely want harvest in there somewhere. And then I guess like when you get into like Giga endgame and like you are good on map sustain and you don't need Kirak missions anymore and you don't need scouting reports and you found all your maps, maybe then you can take off this map sustain stuff and you can take off this scouting report stuff maybe on like day 5 or 6 when you actually completed your atlas or whatever, and now you have like more points to do whatever you want. But I tend to leave these things on this one just because it's so close, like in terms of pathing, that it's just very efficient to take this. And scouting reports are just very useful for finding those last couple maps in your atlas, so that's why I have those on. But you can totally take these off later at some point. But yeah, that's basically this tree. And then I also like to have these endgame map drop things on. It is that this allows you to progress Maven invitations, which gives you more atlas points. And you can also sometimes get cool items from this early on as well. Yeah, I just like to have these on just all the time. Maven Splinter is good. Cool items good. And that's basically it. And this is like my standard SSF progression atlas tree. This here. I should probably have zoomed out earlier, but yeah. And then I have 2 more atlas trees that I want to share as well. These are going to be a little different. As I mentioned before, both builds that I want to play, like early in the league, Lightning Strike Glad and Archmage Ice Nova Hierophant, both of those builds are going to require Legion jewels, so I definitely wanted to build a tree that had just every single Legion thing on there. So, as you can see here, this tree has every single Legion thing on here. And for this wheel here, I've pathed into these 2 specifically because I need Val and Carry armies to show up so I can farm Lethal Pride and Glorious Vanity here. So that's why I have that. And then there are a couple of Legion nodes that I'm not taking, as you can see. I think the Schism thing is a meme. I'm also not taking generals. This is actually advice that I heard from another streamer. Can't remember who said it, but the main idea is that generals, even though they do give splinters, they also take a long time to kill, and they are kind of dangerous as well. So maybe it's more time efficient to not have generals and just like be able to go to the next map faster and then get another Legion in the next map because you have like 100% Legion chance anyway. So yeah, that's the main idea here. It's just like not having generals saves you time. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So I would recommend not taking this. Unless your build was like, of course, so powerful that you could melt generals instantly and like never die to them. Then maybe you could take it. And I also don't take this because it increases the Legion monster life, which is cringe. So yeah, that's basically my Legion setup. And then I had a bunch of points remaining as well. So I was also able to grab all the Breach stuff as well. I don't intend to farm Breach, but you do need to do a little bit of Breach every league just so you can get your Breach Lord invitations down or invitation down. So, I think it's good to just have one Atlas tree with Breach, like for that reason, because you want to get that Atlas point, and the Maven Splinters as well. So I just have Breach here as well. And then I was also able to take the blue stuff here. I figured since I was going red stuff here, I go blue here. Just makes sense. And then another thing that I wanted to do was, if I'm going to be doing Legion, I want to be like giga powerful because Legion can be dangerous. So I decided to take shrines. I had some points left, so I decided to take all the shrine nodes, as you can see here, maybe even this one too. And, just clicking a bunch of shrines and then doing Legion is like really fun and fast. And then I've also taken all the quant nodes here just so that I can maximize like my splinter gain, basically. And that's what this tree is all about. It's all about like being powerful via shrines and then like farming Legion and then getting quant to like get more loot from Legion. And then incidentally also having breach and blue stuff. So this is probably the tree that I'm going to build, you know, like one of my trees after the first one, second or third, I don't know. And then, you know, since I have one tree which is red and one tree that is blue, I want another tree that is Maven. And I'm basically going to use this to progress Maven. And I'll just like, you know, build this at some point. And if you remember, for the Lightning Strike Gladiator, I did need one specific cluster jewel, or two of them, I guess. I need the crit one and the dual wielding one. So I know that I'm going to need to farm Delirium at some point. So this tree is mainly about Delirium. So I've basically taken every single Delirium thing. I have not taken this one here because I like splinters, and I've not taken these two nodes either because I think that maps having layers of Delirium is unnecessary because, I mean, you can get 100% Delirium mirror chance anyway. So why would I, you know, possibly brick a map, you know, or why would I want to potentially brick a map? So I've taken every Delirium node except like those two and then this unending thing. And yeah, again, same pattern as before. I take like, you know, some influence stuff. I take all the quant nodes so I can get the most loot from Delirium. And then, yeah. And then I see what else I can put on here. Also, I got shrines because shrines plus Delirium equals fun. And then I had points left over. And with the leftover points, I decided to go into Blight. So I think taking like Blight nodes on one tree is good. It's just that you never know like when you might need some anointment, right? Like maybe you drop a cool item for a different build and you're like, you know, what anointment do I want? Oh shit, it's like 2 golden oils. So I think it's good to have like one Blight tree. Or I guess you could always like refund like some points on some tree to get Blight, but I like to have one tree that's like giga focused on Blight. And then I basically just, you know, every time I need oils, I just use this tree. Here I've just taken all the Blight nodes that are good, except for these two because I don't know if I want the Blight things to spawn more monsters or like spawn them faster. And I've not taken this either. This is kind of a fun node. It's like a tower defense node where you like make towers deal the damage and not yourself, but I think it's kind of meme. And then there is this new Blight wheel over here, which I think is, yeah, I don't think I've seen this one before. You basically can take this to like replace one lane in your maps of Blight to like only be guarded by Blight bosses. I have no idea if this is going to be good or not. Like, I guess maybe if your build is like powerful, you can take this, but I also just like ran out of points. So I ended up just leaving this one off. It just seemed a bit weird and rippy, but maybe it's good. I don't know. Maybe it's good. If it's good, then, you know, you can take this as well. But I mostly just ran out of points and that was like the worst wheel for me. So I was just like, you know? So yeah, that's basically the 3 like template trees that I made here. You know, Delirium, Blight, Breach, Legion, and just generic SSF stuff. And I think this basically covers all the things that I need to farm for what I want to do. Although, realistically speaking, you know, you're always going to like diverge a little bit. Like, these are just like a general guideline, and usually even I don't follow these exactly. Usually I'll like diverge at some point and like, you know, farm something random or just like change one of the trees so I can like farm a specific challenge or something. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to follow these exactly, but I just wanted to share like some general like trees that I've built in the past and, you know, had good success with, and just like my rationale behind the choices that I made building these 3 trees. And maybe that can like help you, maybe like give you some ideas on the trees that you want to build. Yeah, that's basically it. League start tree endgame SSF farming tree, and then these two to farm situational stuff. So yeah, that's basically my plan. And I'll put these 4 trees in the description of this video, and I'll also link a POB for this Archmage character. I don't think I'm going to make a video on this Archmage character because, I mean, it's exactly the same as last league, except for the spell suppression thing and the endurance charge thing. Like, if you want to learn about this build, I would recommend watching my other Archmage Ice Nova video. It's basically the same thing. But I'll drop a link to this POB in the description in case you want to see this build. So yeah, that's basically it. That is my plan for league start. Yeah, I will be streaming the league start. Sorry if that was loud. I don't know why I clapped there. I will be streaming league start. I think it'll be pretty fun to stream. So, you know, this Friday, twitch.tv/smokey_777. I'm going to be streaming the league start. It's going to be LS Glad at first. And I'm going to go, you know, do full degen this weekend, just like stream as many hours as I can. It's going to be crazy. See how far I get in SSF. Maybe push leaderboards if it's a thing. I think last league I got like rank 2. Wait, was it last league? In one of the recent leagues, I got like rank 2 Jug on like the racing leaderboards playing Bone Shatter. I don't remember if it was last league or the one before, but I got like rank 2 Jug for like the first weekend, which was pretty cool and also kind of degenerate. So feel free to check out the stream if you want to hang out or, you know, ass blast some maps. I don't know why I said that, but yeah. Okay, I've run out of things to say. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, secret tech. You know, these trees are pretty generic, and I am always interested in secret tech, secret farming strats, but yeah, this is basically what I got. Yep, that's basically it. Oh, I guess one more thing that I should probably mention. So this Ice Nova Archmage build needs one specific unique, which is Kitava's Thirst, and that is the only unique that I need for like any of the builds I want to play. So there is a chance that I end up building another Alice tree, which is Magic Find, and I have a video on, you know, this. Basically, the strat is Meticulous Appraiser with Ghosted Rogue Exiles, and that allows you to get a lot of uniques. So I may do that at some point if I don't drop a Kitava's Thirst naturally, you know, before I want to respec. So yeah, or like reroll, I mean. So yeah, I may end up doing a Meticulous Appraiser tree, but you can check out my other video for that. So yeah. Okay, let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or whatever. And yeah, this will probably be my last video before league start. So I will see you, I guess, on Twitch for league start or the day after for like a day 1 build update video. I'll probably make some build update videos for the LS Glad. So yep. All right, goodbye. Where's Streamlabs? Nice. Below 1 hour and I didn't mute myself.